You prepared to apply for a month, and then of course you would prepare for that. Yeah.
Thankfully, I did clear that interview. I had another round of interview. So that was also thankfully cleared with the director of HR at that time.
Hello, everyone, and we're here with another episode of the podcast with our own people at RepStack. And today I have a very dynamic person with me whose story is really worth telling, and how she started off with RepStack and then how she gradually moved up the ladder, and now she's one of our directors. So today we have Urooj with us. Welcome, Urooj.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you for having me here.
This introduction is something which is very close to our heart as well, and we've seen you grow with RepStack as well. I think let's start with how did you end up at RepStack, like your education background, where you're from, which city, and then what brings you here.
All right, so it's been a long journey. So I am from Rawalpindi and I completed my bachelor's in business administration. Then while I was studying, I was hired by British Council. I started to work with them. I did a little volunteer work for them, and then I did my first job at Bank of Punjab. So I was dealing with their accounts there and then handling client queries and everything. Then I started off my job at a company named Stratagem. There I was appointed at the account manager position. So there I was dealing with their international client accounts and I was making upsells in the company. Also, my retention rates were pretty high there. So that was a remote opportunity as well. And that was a UK based company. So that was a very nice experience. And then I thought of shifting myself from corporate culture to a more of educational sector because that was my mom's wish. So I really wanted to try myself and explore opportunities in education sector of Pakistan as well. I did join a system that was global college system, and then I transitioned all the way up to their vice principal position because they wanted someone who could bring in more clients, like parents, for their children. The admissions.
Unfortunately, that these are the hot selling
Yeah.
clients. Yeah.
I did a little bit of social media marketing for them as well. They needed also an English teacher. I did get the opportunity to teach their college and 10th grade as well. So that was a very good experience in its own. But I really immediately felt a need of getting myself back into corporate sector
Okay.
because I'm not of a morning, very much of a morning person. And getting in the morning and then going out, that was a little hard for me.
Schools are pretty early.
Very early. And then teachers, they have to join even more earlier than the children.
Yeah.
And they till longer. They do have their perks though of vacations. But yeah, that was something, and then I was looking for something more work from home that I could pursue. So I started looking at opportunities, and one day I was scrolling through LinkedIn and I found a post from RepStack. I saw I think that was maybe your first meetup, the roadshow.
Yeah.
I saw the pictures of that and I got really inspired by the culture because I saw that CEO, CFO, COO, they're intermingling with the people. You were sharing one of your stories that you left Ericsson and then how you landed up here. I was really inspired by the culture specifically. So it a shot, but I did not just go ahead and apply. I did my research for like at least a month. Reps, there were lots of podcasts and webinars of Azure on RepStack's website. Did go through each one of them, understanding what the company is about. And then after my 1 month of research, I finally took a breath and I applied at RepStack. So initially, I did get a screening call. And after the screening call, it was all quiet. I was like, oh no, I think they rejected. But after 2 weeks, I remember, I got another call for the interview and I was interviewed by the whole HR panel. I remember there were 4 to 5 people in my first Zoom interview. I did make sure to prepare well for that one.
You prepared to apply for a month, and then of course you would prepare for that. Yeah.
And thankfully, I did clear that interview. I had another round of interview. So that was also thankfully cleared with the director of HR at that time. Then I joined in as an associate. That was an account management position, and I joined in RSA. So I started off with taking the trainings. In the beginning, I was really scared because it was a whole new environment, new CRMs. Slack was something I had never used before for communication. So it was mostly like WhatsApp or Skype that we used to use in previous companies. That was a challenge learning. And then we have lots of different things in Slack integrations, like karma integrations. There are different messages coming in. So very funny thing used to happen to me. Instead of doing a personal message on Slack, I used to message in groups. And I was assigned a training buddy inside of RSA, me, and she was really patient with me. I started completing my trainings in RSA. Everyone was really nice and very understanding. I started doing my trainings on ClickUp, on high level, on SEO, Google Ads. So I did all these trainings, and then Asana was assigned because I was an account manager. And I was asked to make my presentation. And then in the meanwhile, I was at that moment also required an account manager internally, the director of operations. And she selected me for her team as an account manager. And she told me that, okay, you're just going to have one more interview. That's with our COO, Athar. And then you will be joining my team. I was like, okay, like both are great opportunities, associate side or doing an internal account management role. So I agreed. I said, yeah, I'm totally up for it. I had my another interview with the CEO Athar, and he talked to me, and then he was like happy in the interview, and I thought the interview went really good, and it did actually. So he was interviewing me, and he had some other plans in mind.
That's how he is. He has something going on at the back all the time.
Yeah, so I'm glad that he saw that in me. So he saw actually a salesperson in me.
Nice.
The very next day, I was offered that you need to, if you can join as a sales manager inside of internal RepStack sales team. Never done sales, like, and for some reason, I did not have the right idea of sales in my mind at that moment, and I never saw myself as a salesperson.
Really hesitant about joining sales.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So how
that's the
did you take
thing.
it up?
That was like, I did give it a lot of consideration. I did not respond there and then that okay or no. I said, yeah, sure. Let me just think about it for one day. I did consult with my family members. Uh, then I did research on this role, that what it entails, and especially what it entails while being with RepStack. So I did find some opportunity. And then I also was told by my peers, by my friends, that you have done upselling, being an account manager. So you can definitely go for this role as well. You know how to make sales. So I took this role as a challenge, I'll be very honest. And I was not sure about it when I started off. But I'm really glad I took that opportunity.
We're
That
all glad
moment.
you took that opportunity. It's rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah, and moving up, I think, how much time did you take moving up to the director role between starting sales and being the director? Because
It
it came
was,
really naturally to you, I think.
yes, yes, sales was very natural to me. It was something that I always had and I did not know about it. It took me 7 to 8 months to take my way all up to the sales director position. Yeah.
That's quick. That's pretty quick. Yeah, but the thing that I'm noticing here is that because you had such a versatile background, you had been through like 3 4 positions which were all different.
Yeah.
Everything was different. You brought all of that into your sales, and I think that's the reason you're excelling. And kudos to Athar who spotted you
Yes.
and got you there. Pretty amazing story. It's something I think we have had a couple of people who've done that and who've really fast tracked their positions. And I think Vishal is one of them.
Yes.
You're another. So it's a very inspiring story, Urooj. Tell us a little bit about your sales tenure. How did you start selling? What are the basics of selling? And then what is the main USP that you're using and you're doing so great with sales?
All right. To answer this one. So, for sales, the first and the foremost thing that everyone needs to understand is their product knowledge. You need to know that each and every policy, each and everything about your product or service that you're delivering to the clients on fingertips.
Definitely, yeah.
Only then you will have that confidence to go in front of a client and take that discovery call, because they might come up with like questions that wouldn't be in your script already. You wouldn't think of, and they would ask you that question. You need to be able to have that knowledge to answer that question right there and then. So, first thing is product knowledge. You need to spend your time, take your time, and do all your research on the product and service. Ask questions that if you're not clear about some policies regarding your services or products, ask them. And then create SOPs that if this scenario happens, what are you going to do in this situation if you're in front of a client? So, one thing is product knowledge and being prepared for unforeseen circumstances that you get with experience. Second thing is always having trust on your product or service that you're selling. Your trust and your confidence level on that needs to be at a really good level for you to sell that product, because if you don't trust in something, you cannot sell that.
Definitely.
So that's why I always make sure that I keep asking our HR and RSA departments as well that, okay, if our service, what we need to do better. So that because I know if I'm going to sell them, I need to be at a very high level of confidence and I need to choose right clients for them. So your trust in the service, then you need to have a very good executive presence, being a salesperson or being an account manager. Even if you're doing any job, you need to have a very good executive presence. You need to look work ready. Only then you would have that confidence level in you where you can just go in and you can talk to the client on their level. You can culturally connect with them. You don't have to shy away and you don't have to feel low at any point. You need to be at their level and then talk to them with a good executive presence, because it brings credibility and more authority automatically. This is natural. I have experienced it myself.
I think even in normal routine, when you enter a room and you're well dressed,
Yeah,
you feel more confident.
definitely.
You feel confident, and you're already a notch up with the other person that you've come to meet.
Yes.
So I think it's the same with the online calls as well.
Yeah.
And so great point that you touched there. Right. Apart from that, and then now you have a team of how many people?
Right now we're a team of 7 people.
Seven
Yeah.
people. So how do you incur the same knowledge into them? Because everyone is a different person. Everyone has his or her own ways of selling and all. So how do you transfer the knowledge? And then how do you keep them, keep them growing, keep them gaining knowledge and all? So how do you do that?
So for this, I always made sure that whoever comes into the sales team is cross trained. I make sure that I have a whole game plan for them from the very first day. That first they start off by SDR dialing, then I shift towards the discovery calls, then we go to the placement calls, and then we side by side we do all the coordination stuff with them. First, I make sure they're cross trained, and I cross train every sales team member myself, because I think that training them should be my first priority, and then each of the other sales team member, they also train them in their specific domains. And then I have one thing that I'm very proud of, I initiated in RepStack, that is sales kickstart calls. And this initiative entails, actually we have these mock call sessions. So whole sales team, we do gather into a room and we do mock calls. We play our bad calls and good calls. You feel really embarrassed sometimes, but I want to break that barrier. You don't have to be embarrassed of making mistakes. Everyone does. And in sales, when you're talking to clients, sometimes, yeah, you might have fall and you might rise sometimes. Great wins, and you need to learn from your mistakes. So these sales kickstart mock calls, they have changed the way we train. Now we are so open in one another that we can make mock calls, we can learn from our mistakes, and there's so many things. We give feedback very openly in those calls, and we take the feedback very nicely. I also play my calls, and my team members, they give me feedback that, Urooj, okay, here maybe you could have said this, done, and I do agree to that. This thing really did wonders for
Sure, it's a game
changer, and this was also adopted by other departments inside of RepStack. Cool.
Very nice. Really impressive. It's like coming out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
Because with the client, nobody knows. He never showed up again. You don't know what's happening, what's going on. So when you listen it with your team, it's a great thing. I'm just impressed by that. So tell us, yeah, like your big wins. What has been your maybe the best month? How does a best month look like? What kind of sales? What maybe in dollar terms you can tell?
Yeah, sure. So one of my best months was where we closed $70,000 of revenue. Yeah, in 1 month.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome,
So
awesome.
that was one of the best months we had.
And best day?
Best day just passed recently last week.
Yeah.
So we closed four in a day that made 10,000 US dollars in a day.
Wow. Very
So that
nice.
was a great day, and it just happened like last week. So yeah, and
We need more of those days. What did you eat that day? You need to get that. Awesome, awesome, Urooj. And so great. I'm seriously impressed by your sales skills and everything. You have your siblings working in RepStack as well. How's that working with your siblings at RepStack? I think you have two of them.
yes, I have two of them. It's actually amazing
And you were the
working with.
first one to join?
Yes, I was the first one. And I definitely had so good things to say about RepStack that they got really curious. And then they got in RepStack as well. So I'm really glad that they made it.
Didn't force HR to do that.
I did not even tell I did not even tell HR that they're my
Oh yeah?
siblings. Yeah, no, I didn't.
Because one thing that we do at RepStack and we take a lot of pride in that is that even me as a Athar, nobody can influence hiring at RepStack.
Yeah.
We cannot. We just made this simply first rule at RepStack that we cannot, because it's at the end of the day that's the core business, and if you don't hire the right person, the company is going to suffer, and we can't do that. It just doesn't make sense. But I'm glad that all three of you qualified, and it's something I've worked with all three of them, I think, and great people, very intelligent and good vibes. That's all I can say. Tell us anything that that has sales is tough. I know it's sometimes it's very tough. It gets really hard on you. A lot of rejections. You need to cope up with them. So any incident that put a smile on you, or maybe you always think about it and you get a smile on your face every time.
Yeah, there was one incident that happened. So we had a discovery call of an overseas client named Ahmed.
Okay.
And we were all like, we have one main sales room and we have different breakout rooms inside of sales room. We do all our sales activity in that one Zoom room, and each one of my team members is present in separate breakout rooms, so I can hop into their breakout room anytime and have a word with them, how their day is going, if they're facing any issues, how the lead dialing is going. So that's why we keep it that way. I was in the main session all ready to take Ahmed's discovery call. I had a word with him before as well on the call. So I was in the main session setting of sales room, and Ahmed joined, and I was like, oh, hey, Ahmed, come, let's join the breakout room. And I initiated his discovery call. So after 10 minutes passed, the person, Ahmed, he said, Urooj, I actually work at RepStack. I was like, are you? He was like, yeah, I work at RepStack. He was actually a very new candidate into for his first dry run with Soha. And the client was late on the call. The client did not appear, and I was taking a discovery call of our candidate.
Both were named Ahmed.
Both were named Ahmed.
Awesome.
That was a very funny incident. And then he was really actually nervous as well, and he did not know what's going on. Neither did I. So we did laugh it away, and we still laugh on this thing.
Awesome. And regarding your personal life, how do you cope up with? Of course, nights are not easy. And the other day, I think, up at 4 a.m. and you guys were on a call with Athar. I was stunned. I was like, what? I wake up at this time. So, how do you cope with that? And how does your day look like? How do you manage your household as well? And I assume you work out as well. So, how do you manage everything?
Okay, so for that, first of all, I do not find this very challenging, the night shift. I find it to be more easy
Of course.
because, yeah,
You didn't like waking up early, so yeah.
yes, I've always been a night owl.
Okay.
So even when I used to go to, like, I was a child, I used to wish that if schools could be open at nighttime. Yeah, so it was never hard for me to stay up at nights and do the job. It was actually a privilege, I would say. But still, sometimes, yes, it does get hard. So you need to take care of a few things. You need to make sure you do your time management very well. You have a strict schedule. I do have a very strict schedule. And I do have a time allotted for everything. Like I wake up, I take my breakfast, and then I cook meal for the night. I hit the gym, I take a shower, I get ready for work, and then I start working. So this is my, and then if something very last minute comes up, I do not do that on the same day because I don't want to ruin that day, that specific day. I do schedule it for next day or the day other, and then do it well planned. So this is something. And then I also make sure that I do build very nurturing and nice relationships with my family and friends. I do make sure to visit them on weekends, to have fun on weekends. And while I'm working, I have fun while working as well with my team members, with other peers. I make sure that work is fun. It's not all stress. And even if stressful situations come in, we do act on them, but later we just laugh about them, that okay, this happened and we did that.
Yeah.
I do make sure that me and my team and everyone around us, we enjoy our work. And while we are not working, we don't talk and think much about work. We enjoy the life outside the work as well.
Yeah, I saw that on RepCamp as well, that you guys are really close knit, all the sales team, and which is really admirable. Um, how do you stay so planned? Do you use any planning tool or anything? If yes, which tool are you using?
Okay, so personally, I do use my calendar, Google Calendar. I
That's it?
have, yeah, I have actually everything listed on that. But then when you talk about work, I have ClickUp. So I have my own separate space inside of ClickUp, and I do put my all the to-dos for the week inside of ClickUp. And I
Nice.
do make sure to mark them and see the ClickUp space that I have for myself. And I do see that which to-dos were due on the day. In the beginning of the day, I see those to-dos, and in the end of the day, I see those to-dos to make sure I complete those things in that specific day.
Nice.
Then I also have a planner. I'm very like into writing stuff down.
Nice.
So I write down each and everything. Sometimes I don't understand what I have written myself, but I do make sure that I write down everything and then I cross it or check it if I have to do it. So I stay planned this way.
Awesome. And we had you on the stage at Rep Camp as well. Very impressive there as well. How was the overall experience at RepStack? How did you feel like meeting people? And then you've been at all of them because
Yes.
of sales. Everybody has to go through that process. So how was that experience?
It was one of its kind. It was like really nice and meeting everyone under one roof, like because we did this at one place this time for all the cities. That was wonderful. I had so many, I connected with so many people face to face because definitely Zoom interactions are different. And then when you meet a person in person, so that's definitely different. We had lots of fun talks. I heard a lot of fun rumors about me as well.
Oh, really?
And they were like, Rooj, we heard about this thing about you. And I was like, no, this is not true. And then definitely the opportunity on stage, that was amazing. Interacting with everyone from the stage, asking them questions. And then we had an amazing panel with us who did share their insights. And there was so much interaction in that session. I really enjoyed that a lot.
And I was there sitting next to the stage, and I wanted Urooj to pack it up a little quicker, but no chance. She took her time. She was like all prepared. She knew what to do, what not to do. She did not budge. She knew what to do. So yeah, great job there again.
Thank you.
And lastly, I think people who want to join RepStack or maybe come into the digital marketing world know it a lot better. And what do you suggest them and people joining who just have joined RepStack? So any message for them? Anything you can tell?
Yeah, I do have one message, that is always be patient and keep working hard. Keep exploring more. Keep updated with the latest technology coming up because every day it's changing.
Yep.
And then keep working hard because what goes around comes around. Do not just give up if you are not having the success right away, because it is going to come one day. And then when it comes, it's going to come in a huge amount. So just be patient always, because this is what I have experienced myself. So if you keep working hard, you keep working honestly, you need to be honest with your work. Because if you're honest with your work, that's going to show in your work, and that's going to show in your success story as well.
Awesome. So people who, of course, are doing digital marketing right now, apply now at repstack.co/careers. Go there, apply now, or careers@repstack.co. You can send your resume as well. But we have now just started 6 months ago, RepStack Learning Academy, which is something that if you want to switch from another profession to digital marketing, or you want to learn more about digital marketing, we're training people as well. So you can search RepStack Learning Academy, And I've seen great results from there as well. A lot of people getting hired from RepStack Learning Academy. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for coming. Whoever comes to my podcast gets this. I know
Oh,
you
wow.
have another version of it, but this one is for you. And
Thank you
it
so
was a
much,
pleasure
Raul.
having you. It's great talking to you, and keep doing the great work.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure connecting with you.